or hours? Oh, hours, yeah, hours, yeah. Yeah, you get TV hours. That's about all I can promise you. So, without further ado, thank you so much for coming out, and I hope we make this into something that's on the annual and something that grows and progresses every year. So, I'm humbled at your presence. Thanks, you guys.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Tim Brown. I'd like to first start off by acknowledging Dr. Tim Brown. About over 10 years ago, I think, we got together and we did a mini group, and Tim's had this just in his heart and soul to really want to connect everyone. And he started off with Gary Wolcott, Mark Kazuki, myself, who else was there? Oh my goodness. We had like a whole crew of people. Sarah was there, and it was just really about authentically helping people. Dr. Cora was there. I mean, it was really about helping people and connecting all these dots together. So you guys, here we are at a bigger scale, and Tim's network has just grown over the years. It's just so impressive. So so blessed to still be with you. So honored and privileged to be up here chatting and you know, basically amongst you guys. I feel very deconditioned amongst many elite athletes as well. And but also I just want to thank our sponsors and Teleskin as well. But before we get started, just give Tim a big hug, a big round of applause. Thank you so much. You are absolutely awesome. I know there's some goodie bags up there, and I have one of my colleagues put some turmeric in it, sells it on Amazon, does really well. It's fantastic. It's one of the primary inflammatory defense levels. There's Dr. Howard Cohn Health Institute in Costa Mesa. Also has some samples of his 7.2 product, which is Recovery, which has hydrogen in it, one of the most missed elements out there. So I know he's going to make sure everyone gets a sample of that. And Dr. Cohn's my partner in Go Beyond Summit. And so we want to make sure that you guys have that and that's the secondary inflammatory response of the body. And I've handed out a couple things, a couple tennis balls for everyone. I'm going to teach you how to juggle at the end. It'll get crazy. We'll have some fun. Balls will be flying. Don't throw them at me right now. They're just for juggling later. And what we want to do is, there's also a card over here. I see Mrs. Rentala has it. It's a black and white photo of, it's a true black and white photo. I want you guys to look at that. It's a business card of somebody else's business. Just tell me what that photo is. What do you think it is? I'm going to ask you. I'm going to figure it back to it in a minute. So I want to make sure that you guys have a look at that and tell me what you guys see. I've also handed out just a card that's a bookmarker that just tells about brain types. And there's some papers flying around with my brain type on it, because I'm going to circle back around to ambidexterity and how brain types play into how we're wired and how we can really open up the body and the mind. And again, I'm Justin Franson. I'm a health and performance coach, and so athleticism.com and Go Beyond Summit are my sites. And today we're talking about ambidexterity, whole brain training, taking your body to a whole nother dimension by how you're really opening up this brain plasticity. And there's no better way to open this Dr. Tim Brown Sports Med Tim Talks than with brain plasticity training. And so what is brain neuroplasticity? It's really allowing and understanding that the brain has the capacity to change and adapt. And so we're going to show you how we do it and how we've done it for about 20 years with our athletes, or more actually, with my mentor, and opening up these athletes and developing more pathways from the brain to the body. And this is something that's super special with athleticism. We've been able to really see all different athletes. It doesn't matter what sport they're in. It doesn't matter if they're corporate. We can really start to work with rhythms and coordinations and cross-crawl motions. And it's not just stretching and strengthening on just one side or the other side. There's so much more to it. You have to work with the eyes. You have to stabilize both sides. You have to develop all these different, cross-crawl patterns and really, hone in on these athletes. And so part of our program over the years is what we've really worked on is tying in with getting the athletes to connect to a flow. And everyone calls it possibly like getting in the zone. And what I like to call it is this universal rhythm. You're really finding a universal rhythm within the athlete and connect to that infinite flow, which is a figure eight, which ties into all the movements that we do. We're not doing linear movements with these guys. We're working with athletes and individuals that far surpass linear movements. So, we're talking about doing each exercise forwards, backwards, lateral, change of direction, semicircles, figure eights. You're connecting these athletes to a whole different level, and it's not linear at all in any way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, we can groove in their stroke and this and that and be really sports, specificity on how they train in a lot of ways, but we need to open them up and create a whole new dimension of an athlete, and that's how you take someone and allow them to overachieve in their brain type and how they're wired. So when we ask someone a question, the way you answer that question exactly tells us how you're wired and how you respond to stress. So for me, my diaphragm will shut down when I'm under stress. And so for an athlete, one of the golfers that we work with, him brain type, his hands were tightened up. He clenched the crap out of the club. Then how do you hit a golf ball if you're clenching the club? And when we start to open up the coordination and whole body, whole brain training with them, he ends up jumping 90 spots on the tour in 1 year. And teach him these subtle things like, hey, soften your hands, relax your hands when you're out there. Combined with great doctor, great sport coach, you have this complete package that you're offering for an athlete, and the results are absolutely unbelievable. So how do you actually develop ambidexterity? Well, there's so many different ways. You can play both sides of your sport, right-handed, left-handed, throwing right, throwing left, kicking right, kicking left, riding opposite-handed. The list just goes on and on. Stepping up a step with your opposite foot first. I mean, all these things are ambidexterity. Crossing your arms, crossing them the other way, crossing your legs. I mean, we can just go on and on. I like to swim, so bilateral breathing, working both sides. But then when you hit the wall to do a flip turn, most guys that are right-handed are going to turn to their right. They're going to roll to their right. So swim, flip, hit that wall, and roll to the left. See how that feels. You'll probably end up scraping your chin on the ground because you'll be so disoriented. I mean, this is how we start to take ourselves out of our coordination comfort zone and strategically stress our body appropriately to make neuroplasticity gains, connecting more pathways from the brain to the body and developing whole brain individuals. And it's never too late to do it, and it can facilitate with anybody in any activity that they're choosing to really explode in. So the other really amazing part of it is it's all injury prevention, because if these guys are really one-dimensional athletes, they're going to be telegraphed, they're going to blow out. We're talking about just allowing them to blow up into a whole nother dimension, and injury prevention is a huge part of it. Now, Jonathan Niednagel is the guy who wrote the book, some of the literature that's out there on brain typing. He's a brain expert, braintypes.com, and he became famous years ago when Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf were coming out, got drafted both first round. He basically foreshadowed the success of what each of them would have, and was exactly right on the mark. And so I followed his work for all these years, and one of the athletes that he went on record to saying was the biggest overachiever of athletes that he had seen up to this date was a gentleman named Jim Courier, who was a famous professional tennis player in the early mid-90s. He was number one in the world for about a year and won about 4 titles. And he was training athleticism and whole brain training when he went to 25 to 1 in the world. And it was just it's such a profound thing for us to really validate. It's like, hey, when you're starting to tap these athletes and open them up and move them in different directions and create whole brain individuals, you're going to start to create overachievers, guys that are going to far supersede what they could possibly have done just going out and hitting ball after ball after ball after ball and looking for an injury and just ball after ball after ball. And so that's the beauty of the brain typing and how it plays a role and how we can actually overcome what some of our predispositions are and how we're typed. It's you start to have to learn how to train and become ambidextrous. And anyhow, ambidexterity is not only about the body, both sides of the body, whole brain training, making sure you're strong on both sides, making sure you're running and firing equally off of this leg as you are the opposite leg. But one of my favorite parts about it is it's about the eyes. You have to be seeing out of both your eyes effectively. So I passed around a true black and white photo, and I just want some volunteers that have seen it just today, not ones that have seen it before. I know many of you may have seen it before. If you have, don't say anything. If you haven't seen this picture before, just please volunteer what you think you see in this picture.
Like a waterfall.
A waterfall. I heard a satellite picture. What else? Anybody? Come on, this is interactive.
Footprint in the snow.
A footprint in the snow. What else? Come on, let's go. Shout it out. Old cellar door.
Piece of skull.
A skull.
Piece of anatomy.
Say it loud.
Piece of bone anatomy.
A bone.
Anatomy. Piece of anatomy.
Anatomy.
Bone.
Anybody?
Let's go aquarium.
A cranium.
Same, I thought it was.
Okay. So do you want me to tell you what it is? Okay. So we can look at this thing all day and just rack our brains looking at this picture. And until you start to fire and do eye exercises, start to fire the 7 muscles in each eye, do some cross-eyed methods, you're gonna never see that picture until I tell you what it is. Amanda, what do you think it is? In the mountains, something in the mountains. Okay, for sake of time, that is a true black and white photo of a cow with his head turned sideways, looking at you with a fence right behind it.
That's what I was gonna say.
I see, I knew it. Do you see it? It's not a glacier. Okay, so you guys, our eyes are a huge part of it. We have to have ambidextrous, we have to be equal. And now Dr. Tim Brown will let you know we can never be equal on each side, but the trick is to get as close as we can to being equal on each side. And so that's what we're here to do and really learn about. Dr. Rentala, please come up on the table. I'm going to now show you guys how we stabilize. So as a performance coach, I have to work with athletes and be able to lengthen and stabilize them and open them up in a whole way, shape, and form instantly and connect them at a deeper level. So I've already stabilized his pelvis, but I want to show you his S1, toe up and out, hold strong, and he's pretty strong, but you can see we can move him in right there, hold strong, just with a few fingers I can move him in right there. So I'm going to stabilize him through the I have LED infrared lights. We're going to just work on him for a second, breathe in, breathe out, he's already breathing. So let's stabilize this right side, up and out, hold strong, boom, can't move him. All right, hold strong. And then up and out on this side, hold strong, strong there. Okay, let's do both sides now together. Both toes up and out, hold strong together. See how he goes weak with both of them? Let's work on that right here. So not only do you have to stabilize an athlete unilaterally, but also bilaterally, okay? Retest this one, up and out, hold strong, hold strong. There it is. And let's do the right side, hold strong. Okay, good. One more time, hold strong, strong. And now both together, up and out, hold strong. Okay, so now he's strong on each side. Do you feel that? So the dim switch is turned up. So this is nerve work we're doing and stabilizing these athletes. And so, you know, with the body and anterior, posterior, proneus, these are areas that are so crucial for the athletes to be firing on all cylinders, because that's where they get the speed and jumping, and just so much force production comes out of that area. And so for us, ambidexterity is all of that combined. It's opening up pathways from the brain to the body. It's making sure everything's firing as equally as you can. It's being a super dynamic athlete, and it's being super stable and connected and firing equal on both sides before you go out and do what you love to do and facilitate helping your clients do what they love to do. So now it brings us to the fun part. But before we get there, the juggling and balls flying everywhere, let me know, you guys, do you have any questions for what we've talked about so far?
Should I stay here?
You're all good to go. Look at this. This guy's going to take a nap.
Does this work for injury recovery as well as injury prevention and performance improvement?
Definitely. So this meaning the stability or the ambidexterity? Yes, this is for everything. So we work with athletes right before they go out and play and stabilize them, or as recovery injury prevention. That lax that you saw that Dr. Intala had at first is the time and moment when typically those injuries will occur. So we need to dial the athlete up and have them so they're just super responsive. We don't want that flex time. And then when we turn them up, we're talking literally 20+% stronger instantly. I just had a track athlete, high school girl. She runs 100 meter, and just doing this work, middle of the season, stress fracture, shin splints, in 6 weeks of training, not really running her at all because she was overtrained and overrun, and I had to do damage control with this and really just lengthening and stabilizing her. She goes and drops about a second off her time from a 13.3 to a 12.2. I mean, pretty unbelievable results in the middle of a season with those injuries. But so yes, it helps in all those scenarios. You can start right away. I mean, it's just gonna start right away, and that's the beauty of it. So how long will it take you to learn how to juggle? It really depends on how one-dimensional you are and how really linear you've been trained and worked your body. So everyone's going to be a little different on how quickly they can open up and connect into it. And we're going to start to see where everyone's brain's going to be ticking like crazy. I mean, you'll start to see it. It's super tangible. And that's the thing about ambidexterity, is it's so tangible for me to see, you know, how effective it is, and when you're working with someone and where their weak links are, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. Anybody else? Questions? All right. Let's play and juggle. Everyone stand up for me. Spread out. So, we all have 2 balls, I think. Go ahead and put one of them on the ground. Now, we're going to pretend there's an imaginary box, you guys. Imaginary box in front of us. It's imaginary. Okay, so we're going to throw this ball from the right hand, and it's going to hit that top of the box and land in the opposite hand. Just start in the right hand, everybody, for purposes of making it easy. So we're going to go up to the other hand. This is a no passing zone. Newport Beach Police, they write tickets all the time. We're no passing zone. Okay, we're throwing the ball up to the other side.
These ones good to go?
I'm gonna need them for a sec. Yeah. And so throwing the ball up. You guys all get that? Hey, this is a no passing zone. You can't pass it back to the other hand. You have to take it from the left hand, throw it back up to the right hand. Oh. There you go. It's going up to the other side. Up to the other side. You guys got that? Okay, good. Now let's grab our second ball. Now, when this first ball hits the top of that imaginary box, you're going to release the second ball up and under it to the other hand. They both go up and under. Up and under. And you guys, there's this thing called gravity. It's really cool. The balls will come down into your hands, so you don't have to reach up for them. All right. So keep your hands down. Throw the ball up and under. You guys get that? No passing. Come on now. All right, you guys, now lead with your other hand. Lead with your other hand. Okay, left, right. It's the same thing. You're just throwing the ball up and under from the opposite hand. So you started right, left. Now let's go left, right. It's no different. It's the same thing. You're just starting with the other one. Tim, I think we're getting these brains working a little bit for you. How we doing, everybody?
Nailing it.
Having fun yet? You got it?
I got a thing in the circle.
We got a few show-offs over here. All right, so next step is to actually, and I don't have enough for everyone, so maybe you can share with your neighbor, but we're gonna start with 2 balls in the right hand.
Show me how you got 9 balls.
2 balls in the right hand. Hold the one closest to you first, the one closest to you first, and you're just gonna release the one furthest away from you first. So the ball with the hand with 2 balls in it, you release the one that's further away from you first, and you're just gonna do the same thing, up and under, up and under. Just catch it, that's it. Right, left, and then you guys, let's go to 3. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna end up 2 balls in your opposite hand. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
I'm just gonna practice my one.
And just stay with 1, you guys, if you're having trouble with 2. All right, but then when you get to 3, there's no telling how good you can get, okay? You just get loose and start to just go, whoop, and see how good you guys can get on this. Okay, so there's no telling.
You're doing really good.
There's no telling how coordinated your brain can get.
You know what?
You guys having fun yet?
Can't talk.
Yes. All right, so now y'all know how to juggle.
We're pros.
Going left, right.
Yes, you are. Now everybody knows about ambidexterity training. Start to use it. Start to implement it. You guys, there's information on our Go Beyond Summit, and I have like about almost a 100-page doc on it. On our we had a Human Performance Summit. There's all this literature on there that we have access to on Go Beyond Summit. So please make sure you take a look at that. Grab some of these supplements from our sponsors. And thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for going beyond with us. All right.
Calcium, phosphorus.
Testing.